Okay, so we have the basics of Cliff House starting to come together with this system, and we are ready to start putting windows in. So the easiest way to start thinking about this first group of windows right here is definitely thinking about those as not as your standard windows, sort of your punched opening windows, but thinking about these more in terms of using curtain wall. I mean, it's definitely a situation where I would want to use curtain wall on those. Okay, so the easiest way to go about making that modification in this case, and let's go back to this interior view, is to make one opening in that wall, and then we're going to put the curtain walls inside of it. So to do that, I'm going to select this exterior wall, and I'm going to go with Edit Profile. Again, Edit Profile lets me basically make a really simple punched opening. It's really easy to offset edges, things like that. And so what I want to be able to do with this wall is I'm going to start by offsetting a line, not 17 feet, but offsetting that baseline 7 feet up, just like that. I know looking at the interiors, there's a little bit left as a column here and a little bit left as a column here. So I want to push those exterior edges, these two sides in just a little bit. I'm hoping that 1 foot is about right. It seems like it's going to be a little bit less than that. But there's definitely some stuff there, so I'm going to actually set that to 8 inches. 8 inches and 8 inches. Okay, so again, the refresher after spring break. This has to be a closed loop system. Okay, so it's definitely time to employ the trim button. So the only line that I need to split is this one right here. I need this to be 2 lines, because essentially what I want to do is trace this sort of outside shape right here. So I'm going to go to Split and split this baseline, and then everything else I'm going to do with trim. And remember, the trim tool, you're clicking on the element of the line or the portion of the line that you want to keep. So I'm going to be trimming this short segment to this vertical segment, here to here, here to here, and then here to here. And green checky box. And that cuts that opening. I know that I have this other run of windows on the side, so we're going to need to identify those in a bit, and a single window right here. And I am going to what I want to do first is let's build those 4. That window looks like it's at least designed to be the exact same size. Those, and that's really deceiving. Like those look larger and those look smaller. But we're going to go ahead and pretend all those are the exact same size as well. I don't know if that's just a trick of the perspective or if that's something that's actually there. But I think the design intent is that those wrap around same size. Cool? Everybody kind of with me in terms of the strategy of how this is coming together? Right, so let's do it. So inside of this opening, we're going to place a curtain wall. So again, back to level 1. I'm going to go to Wall, and this time I'm going to activate Curtain Wall 1. So Curtain Wall 1 is going to go center line to center line. And it should give me this warning message saying that I have overlapping walls. That's just Revit saying, really? You put 2 walls, same spot. Not sure that makes sense. So we've got one thing to fix. And that is this wall. Again, I should have set my height to 7 feet. I never remember to do that. But really, really easy to fix. I can use this grip right here to pull that curtain wall down so it sits exactly inside of that. You'll also notice anytime you make that kind of move, you are going to see this little lock button. I think I've mentioned the locks before, but what that will do is if I turn that on, and if you're worried about whether or not you should lock something to something else, the answer is no, don't do it. Okay? But what that will do is if at some point in time I decide to change the height of that wall, the opening in that wall, that curtain wall will move with it. Right? So essentially I'm locking those things together. So anytime you see that, just let that process through your head. Do I want those things to be attached together permanently? And if you do, if the answer is yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, go ahead and hit that lock button. Okay. Again, the further you progress in Revit, the more opportunities you're going to see to use that lock button, including things like a long string of walls for an office, and you know you want those to be the same size, even if you move the exterior walls around, you can use a lock for that. A lot of times if we're working something like an ADA requirement, you might want to lock a 5-foot dimension in so that you know, or to be smarter about it, a 5'6" dimension in for a turning radius. And you might want to lock that to make sure that at no point in the design process does it shrink inside of that, right? So that you're not breaking the law as a designer. Okay, so locks, windows. The next thing that I need to do is I know that there is a lower horizontal mullion. Often those are 18 inches. Those actually look a little bit more, if the height of that is 18 inches, standard chair height, right? Those are definitely higher. So I'm thinking that that's either 2 or 2.6, but I'm going to vote for 2 feet because that seems about right. So I'm going to go to curtain grid. And I'm going to put my first vertical mullion in, or not vertical, but horizontal mullion in, or curtain grid line, I should say. I always think of those as mullions because that's what I'm working towards. And I'm going to set that at a 2-foot height. Then I can do my verticals. So back to architecture, curtain grid. And I know that we have 4. So it's pretty simple to go center, center, and center. So I'm going to find that center point, which is right here. Right? Revit should do a really good job of snapping to that center point for you. And if you're in doubt, just kind of glide your cursor across the top edge or bottom edge, and you will see it snap to that center point. So I'm going to go center point, and center point. At this point, ready to drop the mullions in. So I'm just going to go to mullions, all grid lines, place it. I've got that first group of windows in. Cool? All right. Repeat said steps for the 2 side walls.